Oh, so, spring onion. This is the last but one of the initial plantings we're putting out in the garden. It's pretty much full up now. We have potatoes to go in after this, which are going to go in next week, I believe, maybe the week after. I'll have to double check my calendar. So, only a quick video today, because this is the only thing, which is video worthy, that I got to do, is planting the spring onions. Now we grow a spring onion called White Lisbon, which is a really reliable variety. It's probably one of the most common ones you'll see about, I think. It's great. I haven't found any reason to deviate from that, really. It's just does the job really well. These plants that we've got here, with a few lettuce seedlings mixed in there, not sure how that happened exactly. So these plants are about 21 days old, maybe a little bit older. About 3 weeks ago I planted them, and they're ready to go out now. Looking really healthy, nice root development. Yeah, just the right time to get them out. It is mid-April, and spring onions are great because they're very flexible in terms of harvest times. You can harvest them really quickly. I mean, if we're planting them out now today, mid-April, we could be harvesting those from mid-May, 30 days, 40 days. We could be harvesting smaller spring onions. If you want to leave them to full maturity, you know, you're looking at close to 60 to 80 days. So I wouldn't expect to be harvesting them myself until late June, early July, I think is when I'm going to be harvesting the main bulk of them. We like the roots a little bit bigger as well, but the nice thing about spring onions is that, as I say, you've got that flexibility. If you decide that you'd like to harvest a few after 30 days, then you can do just that. You'll just have smaller bulbs, smaller heads, but they'll still be really tasty, great in a salad, great for everything you use spring onion for. So we found the easiest way to do it. There's a few different ways to do spring onion, as with all vegetables really, but the easiest way I find is to multi-sow the tray, multi-sow the cells. So we aim to get 2, 3, 4 plants growing in each cell in a clump, and then we space them out about 6 inches apart between the plants and the rows. It's as easy as that, really. If you're happy with them being a bit smaller, then you can tighten that up a little bit. But we find 6 inch works well. So I believe my radish just above me there is also 6 inches, which it is. That makes it very easy in terms of marking out our beds, as I can just continue the rows exactly as they are above. That's as easy as that. Nice thing about spring onion, or something to keep in mind when you're planning it out, is that because it is so prolific and it can be harvested so quickly, you can end up with a big glut of spring onion. So, you know, what we tend to do is harvest them over the course of about a month. So you're picking small ones at the start and then much bigger ones by the end, and that works well. You can also succession sow. So we may also do that this year, where if I'm putting them in the ground now today in mid-April, then we could start some seeds this week as well. By the time our first lot are ready to harvest, we can put in some new seedlings to take their place, and so on and so forth. And you know, that way you keep a succession of spring onions growing. They are such a handy veg to grow. Really nice to cook with, really versatile, and pretty easy and trouble-free as well. So they're a good one, and worth growing in that succession style if you want a continuous supply. Probably what we'll end up doing here, I'll check the plan. You know, as I say, we don't stick too rigidly to plans, but we have got a rough idea of what we want for, you know, the entire garden for the season. Really, just a rough idea. always subject to change, and it never ends up as is written down. But I may take a look at that and see if I can keep this area, this bed, as a succession planting of spring onion to give us through. Nice thing about spring onions as well is that if you have them in at the right time, going into autumn, they will actually stand over winter and then pick up their growth again early spring, which is really handy. It gives you a nice crop coming out of the garden in that hunger gap where you haven't got much else really fresh coming out of the garden. Much like leek in that sense, that you can leave them in the ground. So we'll certainly be doing that. Now, as I have said in previous videos, we've just given the tray a little bit of watering about 10 minutes before we were ready to plant out. 20 minutes more like. Just trying to hold the soil together. Spring onions, as you can see, is a clump there. You're growing them for the bulb. So you shouldn't expect it to be as tight a root ball as you get with some other plants. And therefore, you don't really want to be removing them from a dry tray. You can see how it grows. Quite stringy. Not as tight a root ball as you see with some veg. So yes, be careful not to be removing them from the dry tray, as the roots are more prone to coming loose, and you want to minimize disruption when transplanting at all times, and particularly so for things we're growing for the bulb. Just something to keep in mind. We eat a lot of spring onion. We've got the chickens, which you'll see behind me in a lot of the videos, just below the market garden. And eggs and spring onions they're a nice little combo to get from the garden on a regular basis. Bringing home your fresh scrambled eggs. Dicing up some spring onion goes really nice. And there are a lot of varieties out there. But as I say, White Lisbon, I think, is certainly one of, if not the most commonly grown popular varieties. I think, we've grown another couple as well. One with a Japanese name, which I can't remember quite how to pronounce. A couple others, but this has always been my favourite. Really trouble-free, very frost-resistant, so it's a really well-suited variety to have it in the garden autumn sort of time. August, September, October. And you can leave them to sit then over winter. Pick them up again in the following spring. White Lisbon's a really good variety for that. So as I say, not something which is going to apply for us right now, planting them out in April. Not worried about any cold snaps that would damage spring onions of any variety really, that I know of at least. Something to keep in mind when it does come to that last planting of the year. There we are, it's as simple as that really. 6-inch spacing, 6 inches between the rows, 6 inches between the plants. I'll crack on now and fill out the rest of this bed. And then that'll be it. Quick video today. Nothing more to it really. There you go then. That's our spring onions all planted. Let's get a little close-up of that. Lovely. 6-inch spacing between plants and rows. Easy as that, in clumps of anywhere between 2 and 5 seedlings. Don't think you need to be too fussy with spring onions. You'll just end up with some smaller than others, some bigger. You know, nice variety. So that's it for us today. I'm going to get on with a few other jobs, which are a little bit less video worthy, trimming and what have you. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope that was useful. I'll just get a last bit of video wrap of how the veg garden's looking from above. So we've got our blank space over there for the pumpkins. Need to get some wood chipped down. Everything planted here apart from this last row. We've got salad crops here, and then mixture of vegetables over there planted up, with the large row at the back waiting for the potatoes. That's us. They're all coming together. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope that was interesting, and see you again soon.